You are rolling. Okay, good morning everybody. I'm Josh Warner here at Dine with the gracious Mr. Bob Baines. Bob, how are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic today.
Excellent. So, Bob, first of all, can you tell me about what your current position is and what your involvement is in the Manchester community?
Sure, I have multiple roles. I've been very involved with the community most of my life. I was a high school principal here in Manchester for 20 years, after which I served as mayor of the city for 6 years. And right now I'm engaged in a very exciting company called Dine. And the CEO of the company, Jeremy Hitchcock, is 33 years old, and he's actually a former student of mine when I was principal at West. And he was in my last senior class. And he brought his company to Manchester. It was a tiny little company, and now it's about 450 employees worldwide, and I do community relations for the company. Right now we're trying to line up all the presidential candidates to come in and speak to our employees to learn about our company, learn about some of the important issues for our company, especially workforce development. Where are the workers in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, math, going to be coming from in the future. The other thing is I have a project called STEAM Ahead New Hampshire. That focuses on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And we've started a STEAM Academy at West High School. It's actually in its second year now. 10% of the student body is involved, so I'm working very hard on that too.
Excellent. So, can you tell me about how you first became aware of City Year, especially City Year New Hampshire, and what your involvement with the organization has been over the years?
Well, one of the things I enjoy every year is having the opportunity to welcome all the City Year students to the city, because I'm very involved in the educational system, given my background as high school principal for 20 years, mayor of the city for 6 years, and during that time I served as chairman of the school board. And I was also on the school board when I was in my 20s too, so I've served a total of 10 years on the Manchester School Board. And I see a lot of the issues that are part of the demographic change of Manchester, some of the challenges of Manchester, some of the changes in the poverty level, the erosion of the middle class, and plus many students coming from all over the world, the refugee community, immigrant community. And I see a role of City Year as getting in there, working with these young people, helping them stay on track with their academics and becoming role models for them. So I've been very intrigued with this City Year, especially since they came to Manchester. I was aware of the movement before they came here, but I'm also seeing the profound difference they're making, and I'm very excited about that.
Sure. Thank you. So, can you outline just some of the particular issues within the Manchester area that would make an organization like City Year especially vital?
Well, some of the issues facing the city of Manchester, the dropout rate, for example. Why do students get disengaged from school? And a lot of it relates to, in many cases, what they're dealing with in their home life. Many of these students come from broken families, or families that have come here that may not speak the English language. They may be drawn into some behavioral patterns that may not be conducive to the kind of community all of us want to be, and kind of citizens we want to nurture in our schools. So what I see as some of the challenge in Manchester is the growing number of poverty, students on free and reduced lunch in the city, the erosion of the middle class. There was just a story in the newspaper recently about Jewett Street School, which is in the south of Manchester, historically not been a poverty area. Now they've become a Title I school, meaning they've reached a certain threshold with students on free and reduced lunch. West High School, for example, the school that I served as principal for 20 years, has the highest dropout rate in the state of New Hampshire. It used to have one of the highest college acceptance rates in the state of New Hampshire. So I see a lot of issues going on like that, and City Year has an important role, becoming, again, as I said, role models for these students, helping them achieve their dreams of becoming good students and good citizens. And the role models that provided by City Year are an integral part of that.
Great. So, can you, alright, so if you think back to when you, I don't know, first met with City New Hampshire, so I don't know, maybe any time in the last 15 years, what do you think the evolution of their role or their activities have been over time, and what do you think have been some constant features?
I think one of the things that I've seen, first of all, the focus on Manchester. They didn't always have a sort of laser focus on the city of Manchester. Manchester is the state's largest city, And it's been said, for even some recent studies have said that Manchester has to get its arm around two issues to thrive. One is education, and the other one is public safety. And so I've seen City Year, with the support of the mayor and the business community, get really intricately involved in some of the schools in Manchester where there are many, many challenges. So I've seen them focus in this area. I've seen the support that they've generated because people are seeing the results of their effort. And people see City Year around the city with their red jackets. I think it gives a confidence in the city that these young people have come from all over the country into our city to try to help us get a leg up on some of these issues that are challenging these young people. So I've seen it evolve into a very high-profile organization in the city, sort of was undercover, if you will, a little bit, and I think it's risen in terms of the public awareness and the importance that our school administrators and teachers see it. Heaven forbid if City Year were to say they're not coming to Manchester anymore, I think there'd be an uproar in the community and people would say, well, we can't allow that to happen. So right now I think they're really embedded in our community, they're part of the fabric of our community, and they're part of the future of our community.
Excellent. So can you cite some examples of, like, memorable experiences you've had with City Year, or any, like, memorable projects you've seen them undertake over time?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go in that. I really haven't been in the schools with them a great deal, because that's just not my role.
Yeah, I understand. Okay. So looking ahead, what are your hopes for both City Year and for the city of Manchester, and how do you think they go together?
Well, one of the things that I'm really excited about I think there are 20 more City Year young people in our community than ever before. They've taken on 2 additional schools in the city, which is very exciting for all of us in the community. So I see that growing. If we can recruit more students and more funding to support them, I see them having an even greater impact. I'd like to see them in more schools in the city. Because one of the things that, when I had the opportunity to address City Year several weeks ago, one of the young people asked me, what significance do we have in the community? And I used the word hope. When young people, many of whom are struggling for proper relationships, peer relationships, strengthening their relationships, developing their self-confidence, rejecting some of the negative behavior, whether it be violence or drugs or whatever that might be, they can look up to these young people and say, hey, someday I can make a difference by going into a city that needs a group like City Year. And they also, many of them from very challenging environments that we've talked about, from broken homes, from high poverty. They may have a parent in jail or dealing with problems with law enforcement. They may have siblings or parents that are dealing with drug addictions. Manchester, as many communities, are dealing with an awful heroin addiction problems, physical abuse, sexual abuse. There are a lot of things that students, unfortunately, are exposed to, and having these role models in our school that develop relationships with these young people, a loving, caring adult in a young person's life can be the most significant factor of changing lives. So City Year provides hope, and they're changing lives every day that they're in our city.
Beautiful. Okay, and what? So we're still pretty early into the school year,
Right.
and you've met with us a couple of times. But I'm just curious as to what your impressions have been of this current core year, the current members, and maybe how they compare what they share with past groups.
I find it inspirational. I've been involved in education. I've been involved with politics. I love Manchester. My roots are in Manchester. My children grew up in Manchester. They're in Manchester still. They live in Manchester. I love the city. I live in the same neighborhood my dad grew up in. So when I see a group like this that has this enthusiasm, that has this passion for what they do, that are willing to give a year of their lives of service, that's awesome, and that's inspiring to people like me that have worked with young people my entire life. To see people willing to do that, to sacrifice, really, for the betterment of our society, for the goodness of their hearts and souls, to willing to come to you. So when I have that opportunity, and I As you know, I welcomed everybody, we brought them here to dine, showed them this unique workspace and showed them a little bit of the history of Manchester. Just being in the presence of people like Sidier is very inspirational for me, and it makes me feel very good about the future, not only of our city, but of our country.
Excellent. Okay, and anything you'd like to add?
No, I just hope we can continue this good work and let people know that I'm here to try to support them in any way that I can. I think I gave about 50 business cards to different employees. If there's any way I can be of assistance to them where in the city, I'd be delighted to be able to help, and it would make me feel like I'm contributing to the mission of each and every person that's in our city.
Okay. I believe that's it.
Okay.
So thank you.
Hey, Josh.